Welcome back to Carolina, everybody, where Taylor Heinicke is about to make his first NFL start. This young man is much more prepared than people may realize. To begin with, he's been taking most of the practice rep with the starters for several weeks while Cam Newton tried to let that injured shoulder heal up. Secondly, he knows offensive coordinator Norv Turner's system inside and out. The two were in Minnesota together with the Vikings. In fact, a big reason the Panthers brought Taylor here to Carolina was to teach Norv's system in vernacular to the rest of the Panthers squad. Now, Dick, he's approaching today with the right attitude. He tells me he wants to prove his supporters right, not his doubters wrong. He's an underdog he can't help but root for, and he's up first because the Falcons won the toss and elected to defer.
All right, Jen, great to have that positive attitude, and so he'll get a chance, and I'm sure he's happy to get on the field right away as Matt Bodger gets set to kick off. Kenyon Barner back deep for the Carolina Panthers, and it's going to be returnable starting from the 5. Barner past the 20, and Barner gets to the 27-yard line. So after much buildup, we're getting our first look at Taylor Heinicke. As you mentioned, Jen, it's his first career start. Only 5 career pass attempts, 4 of them this year. He's come in to throw Hail Marys for Cam Newton late in the game or late in the half in his 3rd season from Old Dominion. And he told us without question, I will be nervous getting ready for that first snap. Everything will be all right after that. So you're seeing him at the most nervous, and the ball is dropped, and he has presence of mind to pick it up and pick up almost 5 yards on the first play. Not what he wanted.
No, it certainly isn't, and I'm telling you, anytime you get in there, it's not like practice. You can't simulate it. The center's taking a shot to his left. He's got to block somebody. You pull out a little bit early as a quarterback. That exchange is something that they're going to have to be in. They're going to be under center quite a bit more with Heinicke playing than they are with Cam Newton.
Ended up with a 3-yard gain. And here is Christian McCaffrey going outside. And McCaffrey knocked out of bounds close to the first down, and he does have the first down. There is Cam Newton, officially inactive for this week, more likely shut down for next week as well, although Ron Rivera has not made that official. And he has never complained despite the problems he's had, unable to go long. So Norv Turner had to alter the game plan. There's this pass out on the flat. Breaking the tackle is McCaffrey, and McCaffrey has another first down. Deion Jones missed the tackle. The usual reliable middle linebacker, gain of 12.
Well, that's Christian McCaffrey. That's what he does as well as anybody in football. You've got to be out there covering the flat one-on-one with 22. Good luck, Jones, because that guy has done that to a ton of people this year. 95 catches and counting now on the season.
Trying to get to 1,000 yards rushing and 100 catches and in Atlanta territory. First down for the Panthers. And the handoff to McCaffrey, and McCaffrey seemingly stopped after a short gain, brings it out to the 45-yard line. So taking a look now at the Carolina Panthers offense, number 3 in the league rushing, but since week 10, most turnovers in the league, and that has curtailed them.
Yes, and Christian McCaffrey is just nothing but the consummate professional. Not only running the ball, catching it out of the backfield, he does everything exceptionally well. This guy is a dynamic player. 3
wide receivers line up to the right on 2nd and 7. DJ Moore goes in motion, and the pass out to Samuel, and Samuel with a fake gets to the 40, about 3 yards shy of the first down. Vic Beasley making the tackle. The Atlanta Falcons defense, 14 points allowed, despite these numbers that you see, at Arizona, tied for the fewest of the year for them.
Yeah, and one of the guys I love watching, DeMonte Casey, he came in after multiple injuries at the safety position. He is a thumper. He's an enforcer back there, rolling down those alleys and stopping the run. He's a guy you've got to watch during the course of this game.
4-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Injuries have really riddled that Atlanta defense. And Heinicke drops back and completes it to McCaffrey, has a first down, And McCaffrey is tackled at the 35-yard line by Casey, who you were just talking about, a pickup of 6.
Well, that's the second catch on the day right there for Christian McCaffrey. Remember, the first time they played week 2, 14 catches, and he's just lined up out there in the slot in a stack formation. He's going to run the shallow cross, just get in the ball and let him make plays.
Pretty good drive right now for Carolina, and they're going to go to the hot hand McCaffrey, who this time is knocked back after a couple of yards by Brian Poole, the nickel back.
I think one of the things you have to understand, if you're Norv Turner, you look at the defense that's presented to you in the Atlanta Falcons. You want to talk about sideline to sideline speed at every level. The defensive line, linebackers, safeties, they want to attack this defense as much as possible straight downhill. Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator, you see him there, straight downhill to mitigate some of that speed from side to side.
Falcons 29th in the league in points allowed. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Fake to McCaffrey, and the pass is way off the mark. It was intended for DJ Moore, covered by Trufant downfield. And it's interesting that McCaffrey, who they didn't use for the first time in the game, was open up the middle as a check down.
Yeah, he certainly was. But you want to push the ball down the field. You're getting toward the red zone right now. You want to take a few shots. And one of the things this offense has struggled with Cam Newton's injury is everybody sitting on routes. So let's test him deep a couple of times. Let's run some seam routes. Let's run some combination routes down the seam. See if we can get a vertical route and get a big-time play out of the passing game, which hasn't happened over the last about 6 weeks.
3rd down and 9. Pressure on, and Heineke takes off. He's going to get the first down inside the 25. He doesn't run like Cam Newton, but he has mobility, and an 11-yard pickup keeps it going, and once again converting on 3rd and long.
Well, this is a called play. I mean, he's just going to take this snap, take a step back, look, boom, put his foot in the ground. I mean, that's something you don't expect. If you're Atlanta, you're not expecting him to run a Cam Newton design type of play at 6 foot, 202 pounds, but you see the toughness, you see the finish right there. My only suggestion, get down, young man, get down.
On the 23, 1st down for the Panthers. Impressive opening drive. They fake again to McCaffrey, and the pass is caught. Wide open is Jarius Wright, and that's close to another 1st down. It is a 1st down for Carolina, right about the 10-yard line, a 13-yarder.
Watch him snap his head around. As soon as he gets his head around, he sees the flat. That's the first read in the progression, right? And he just gets it out of his hands quickly. You can't do it any better than that if you're Heineke. Get outside, snap your head around, get it to the first guy. This kid, I mean, you start with the fumbled snap. This kid has done nothing but orchestrate from that point forward.
Drive started on the 27. It'll be 1st and goal. And the pitch to McCaffrey. McCaffrey gets to about the 6-yard line. Deion Jones puts him down at that point. Red zone has been a red zone for the Panthers offense, trying to break that 6-game losing streak. Impressive in the first 10 games, but the last 4 they've fallen way off.
A red zone like a big rash, right? It just makes you itch a little bit. Yeah, this has not been a good place for them, and a lot of that has been they just understand the weakness of Cam's arm. People compact in there. They don't let you push it down the field. The red zone already is a tough situation. You've got to be able to run the ball down here.
It'll be 2nd and goal from the 6. And it's going to be a keeper looking for a receiver and throwing it away, and a flag goes down. Our first penalty of the contest. Pete Morelli, the referee, and his crew.
A legal man downfield, and that was a designed run that Atlanta, they sniffed that out, and the offensive lineman.
An eligible player downfield, number 71 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
And that was the tackle, left tackle Marshall Newhouse.
Yeah, and he's like, man, that's not even my fault. That was a designed run. And, I mean, Heineke did a great job. Just throw it away, but he's already down the field trying to block for him, so you can see him down here at the left tackle position. Watch him just release, because this is a designed run. You're going to fake it right there, get to the edge. He's getting out. He's already 4 yards down the field. He's in the end zone. He was open, though. Like, if you'd have thrown it to him, he's open.
Must be tough for an offensive lineman to know when you can go and when you don't. And here is McCaffrey. Spins his way inside the 5. It'll bring up 3rd down and goal after another 8-yard gain as Campbell and Niesman of the Atlanta defense combined to make the stop.
I think that's something that I think has shocked a lot of people so far this year with Christian McCaffrey. You know, becoming the every down back, 98% of the plays he's been in for, but the power that he runs with between the tackles has been a pleasant surprise, but I think a shock to a lot of people out there.
He's been involved in 6 of the first 11 plays for Carolina. And here's Heineke, and a tough throw to make, and it is incomplete. It was intended for McCaffrey, although Ian Thomas, the tight end, was right there with him. So they threw to 2 receivers. And it'll be 4th down and goal at the 3.
Holding. 21.
And no, it'll be a first down now.
First down.
A very costly penalty against the Atlanta defense, holding on an automatic first down. It was called against Desmond Trufant.
It's actually Niesman up here at the top, and you'll watch him grab. Well, I tell you what, that's pretty ticky-tack right there. You can chuck a guy inside. Oh, no, you're right. It was Trufant that got called for the hold on the backside. Heineke never even looks back there.
Chris Clark coming in as an extra offensive lineman. First down and goal, and here is McCaffrey, tried to leap and gets knocked and slammed back for no gain by Brooks Reed. And that's the most crunching hit that McCaffrey has seen so far in this game.
Well, take a listen to this. That's just beating you at the top right here.
That was emphatic.
Yeah, and it's amazing because you're at the end of the line of scrimmage. You slide across there. You see Jones get in on that hit as well, 45. But really nice timing as they both timed that thing up to meet McCaffrey right over the top of the line of scrimmage.
So now 2nd and goal from the 1. And it's a fake. And Heineke can't find a receiver and throws it top. Touchdown, Ian Thomas in the back of the end zone with a lot of coverage on him. And Cam Newton is as excited about as anyone in this stadium. What an impressive opening drive by Taylor Heineke in his first NFL start, taking the team for a touchdown, converting several 3rd downs in the process.
As a veteran player, there's nothing you like more than to see a kid that comes from humble beginnings get his opportunity and cash in on that opportunity. And Cam is as excited as anybody in this building right now for his backup, Heineke.
And Chandler Catanzaro for the extra point. And it's a long scoring drive as well, and the kick is good. 14 plays, 73 yards, capped by the 1-yard toss from Heineke to Thomas. His first touchdown catch of his career. 7-0 Panthers. Mark, you pointed out beautifully after a fumbled snap. What a drive. 8:03 in the process, 73 yards. Heineke's first career touchdown. And for McCaffrey, he needed 21 yards for 1,000. He has 25 in the books right now. So he has gotten the first of those goals done with 1,000 yards rushing right away. Marvin Hall bobbles the ball. And Hall trying to get something and is trapped by the 15 by Cameron Artis-Payne.
Dick, on the Fox clicker right here, you're going to see the touchdown. Now, there's a couple of things that I love about this. Just the fake handoff, but we're just going to run the boot keep. So we're going to get out to the outside edge. But I want you to watch this right here. Watch Heineke square his shoulders toward the line of scrimmage, and then watch Ian Thomas uncover and come back to his quarterback. That's just textbook right here as he squares his shoulders and makes the throw to Ian Thomas.
And the rookie from Indiana with his first TD reception of his career. And now starting with the first offensive play, and Julio Jones gets into the act quickly and trying to get the extra effort for the first down, and it looks like he succeeded, was Jones. So Matt Ryan And the ultimate professional, 8th straight season with 4,000 or more passing yards. And of course, he has the numbers to be a Pro Bowler, not in the Pro Bowl, but boy, he's had an amazing season despite the losing record for the Falcons.
He is the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, the Atlanta Falcons. The guy's a consummate professional.
And here is Tevin Coleman on the pitch, and Coleman nearly breaks a tackle. Coleman coming off a career high 145 yards and a touchdown against the Cardinals, and his first 100-yard game since week 2. The Falcons offense, and they're 4th in passing, no surprise there with Jones and Ryan.
Yeah, Jones is special. I mean, he's just a special player. Banged up after the first play, but let me tell you what, that guy is arguably the best in the business right now. Just work ethic and just kind of explosion. 2nd
down and 2, and play fake, which is what Ryan likes, and downfield, and it's broken up, intended for Russell Gage, and a great defensive play for the Panthers. Textbook for James Bradbury, who's playing very well, especially last week against the Saints.
Yeah, well, they're running the post, and Bradbury, you look at him off coverage right here. Now watch him open up his hips. He's playing outside leverage. Watch him close his cut underneath the receiver. You can't do it any better than that. Textbook, as he lost the deep safety who jumped the over route. So you're one-on-one out there in space. What a great job by Bradbury.
And he can afford to go deep because he has 3rd and short right now. Tevin Coleman is lined up as a receiver to the left. And under the pressure, the pass is going to be caught by Mohamed Sanu, and a 1st down as he edges into Panther territory, and an 18-yard pass on 3rd down.
Yeah, out of a stack formation right here. He's up here at the top of the stack. He's going to run the crossing route. But just watch Mohamed Sanu. Watch the way he finishes. Gets up top, cuts it hard on the basic right here. Now he's just going to go hit somebody. That's what he does. And Matt Ryan waiting, backing up, delivering a strike.
Sanu could have career numbers before this season is over. Here is Tevin Coleman. And Coleman gets about 3 yards on 1st down. Take a look at the Panthers defense. Then they're playing without K'Wan Short, the defensive tackle today, and Shaq Thompson, who's on injured reserve with a shoulder. 2 stalwarts missing for the Panthers defense.
Yeah, but they have a couple of guys that are as good as it gets. Luke Kuechly, the middle linebacker position. He's the quarterback of this defense, calling plays. Thomas Davis, he's been doing it for 14 years and doing it as well as anybody's ever done it. Just a coverage machine.
2nd down and 7. On the Carolina 46. Ryan goes underneath. Shy of the 1st down is Julio Jones, and Kuechly is right there, making the tackle a yard short of the 1st down.
Well, you saw our special player if you're Carolina, right? You saw Christian McCaffrey. We got him involved. I guess the Atlanta Falcons are saying, oh yeah, you're going to show us your special guy? We got one too. He's number 11, Julio Jones. He's about as good as it gets in this league. So we'll feature him as well. We'll see at the end of the day who gets the most targets to those 2 guys.
So Jones leading the NFL in receiving yards coming in. Brian Hill is checked in at the running back spot on 3rd down and 1, and it's going to be the wide receiver Sanu who gets the 1st down, still going, and is knocked out of bounds. So they go to Sanu, and we're seeing more and more wide receivers getting good rushes. He gets 24, and the Falcons in command, looking to tie the game.
Well, Dick, Sanu has done this since he came into this league, and he did this as a player at Rutgers as well. Not only complete passes, but he's a great runner in this kind of wildcat formation. Not a lot of teams use it anymore because they don't have a special guy like that, but that is a read zone. Sanu cutting up there, and look at him run after the catch. Not the catch. I mean, obviously, well, he caught the snap. Yeah. So it's kind of like run after the catch, right? But his run after the catch ability is really special.
Ryan, incomplete. Someone got a hand on him, Kuechly, and Brian Hill was the intended receiver. So the Panthers, whose strength is the linebacker, but getting pressure from the front 4 on Ryan early here.
And that's been an issue for this Atlanta Falcons team throughout the season. Injuries up front. They lost 2 guards. They've made transition to the right tackle position as well as the right guard position. with Zane Beatles and Sombrilo, so they've had a lot of issues up front, have the Atlanta Falcons.
Dan Quinn looking for his second straight victory, and there's Brian Hill. And Brian Hill about a yard. Mario Addison making the tackle, and that will bring up 3rd down and long for Matt Ryan and the Falcons. He'll have Tevin Coleman go in as Hill comes out of the game, so Coleman is back in.
Well, the good thing for the Falcons, 3rd down and long, they're the best offense in football right now, 40.5% converting those 3rd down and long. So we'll see what they have here in the empty formation.
5th in the league in that department. And here's Ryan, gets time, and going underneath to Julio Jones, gets a 1st and goal at a 2-yard line. Kuechly makes the tackle, but not before the Falcons have a 1st and goal.
Well, he's coming out of the slot right here underneath Sanu. Sanu runs off the coverage. He just runs a shallow cross versus a zone. And once he catches that ball in the middle of the field, watch him plant his foot and get up. He knows where that 1st down marker is. He's going to fly over there and try to get that.
3rd catch of this drive for Jones, who goes out of the game. It'll be a 1st and goal at the 3. And there's the fade, and a little bit past the reach of Sanu. Bradbury was defending here, so 2nd and goal coming up. Falcons have won 5 of the last 6 against the Panthers, including that Week 2 victory. The only loss in the past 6 was right here in Week 9 of last year.
Well, Julio Jones not in right now. He had the ribs from last week, also had a hip flexor issue, so they're working along the sideline right now.
Hill comes back in at the running back spot, gets the handoff, trapped at the line of scrimmage, and will go down at the 2 thanks to Thomas Davis. Well, you wonder whether this is Thomas Davis's last home game of his career, and it may not be, right?
No, I talked to him, and they said, listen, I've thought about it, I've contemplated it, but guess what? I'm playing so good right now, there's no way I can quit, which I completely agree with. This guy has been one of the best cover linebackers in football, and he's just a tremendous, tremendous athlete.
Big play coming up, 3rd and goal. Julio Jones back in the game. Matt Ryan fires, caught, touchdown. Julio Jones comes back to what? Catch a touchdown pass, his 7th TD grab of the year. And the Falcons on their opening drive get a touchdown as Carolina did.
Well, you know what they say, Dick, speed kills, and he's just going to come just slamming on a Z drive across the football field. They've got a couple underneath routes to hold the underneath coverage, and they say, Julio Jones, we believe you can run faster than anybody covering you when we give you 40 yards to do it across the field.
Matt Bryant to tie the game, and he does. 7-7 the score, and for Matt Ryan, his 31st touchdown pass of the season. 291 in a career as he passes Johnny Unitas and ties Warren Moon 13th on the all-time list. What a keeper he's been. So once again, Matt Ryan now tied for 13th with Warren Moon passing the great Johnny Unitas, and standing at the top of the hill is Mr. Peyton Manning for the most career passing touchdowns, and that was an 85-yard drive for Carolina, answering the 73-yard drive for Atlanta for Carolina, Kenyon Barner. So we've had a couple of long first drives, and Heineke especially.
Yeah, Heineke fumbles the first snap, and you're like, uh-oh, here we go. Are the nerves going to kick in? No, they didn't. They know how to pick it up on 3rd down. Christian McCaffrey, then go ahead, scramble a little bit on 3rd down. Another conversion right there, and then watch him turn his shoulders, throw a ball over to Ian Thomas, who uncovers. I mean, it's beautiful. Look at all that confusion in there. Very nice effort.
Flag down. Late flag at that.
Personal foul. Illegal block. Receiving team, half the distance of the goal. First down.
So they'll move the Panthers back. Taylor Heineke from Old Dominion once threw for 730 yards in a game. And we're not making that up either.
It's an amazing 5,000 yards in one college season. Now, here's the interesting thing. You're going to start this ball at about the 11-yard line. What you have to understand is now about 40% of your playbook is out, Vic. So now you're not only, getting your first start, but you're coming in from out of your own end zone, which even makes it that much more difficult.
Play fake. Reed. Incomplete pass intended for DJ Moore. And for a game break, let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks so much, Dick. So the Bucs were up 3-0 in Dallas. And Dak Prescott decides to keep this one for himself for a 7-yard score. Cowboys clinch the NFC East with a win, currently up 7-3. Dick, Mark, and John.
All right, thank you, Carissa. And there's Ron Rivera, whose team was 6-2 at the midway point and have dropped 6 straight games. Been a shock around here. 2nd and 10 from the 11. And they're going to give it to McCaffrey. McCaffrey has been involved on 9 of the 16 plays so far for the Panthers, and that may be the last play of the first quarter. But an impressive start as the rookie Taylor Heineke leading Carolina to a 73-yard drive as Cam Newton cheered him on. And Julio Jones, the receptor of a touchdown on an 85-yard drive for the Falcons. That'll do it for the first quarter here in Carolina. Blue skies, temperatures now in the 50s, all tied at 7. Start of the second quarter here in Carolina. Ron Rivera trying to see his team snap a 6-game losing streak, but 5 by 7 points or fewer. That's really frustrating. So it'll be 3rd down and 6 for Taylor Heineke and the Panthers. So far 2 for 2 on 3rd down conversions.
That's the blitz coming.
Here they come. And Heineke upfield, and the pass way short for Curtis Samuel. And it'll be 4th down, and Falcons could be looking at good field position.
Yeah, here it comes. I mean, they're bringing 6 guys right here. They get on Heineke from the edge, and what you're doing here and what your thought process is blitzing on a 3rd and 6 is, hey, make him get the ball out of his hand right now. Make a quick decision and see if that kid can live in that world.
Boy, they blitzed Josh Rosen to it fairly well last week against the Cardinals.
Certainly did.
Pilardi will be kicking from inside the 5. Justin Hardy at the 40, and a good kick by Pilardi from inside his 30, and good coverage downfield by the Panthers, and a salute to Ben Jacobs because he got there and made the tackle on Justin Hardy. 56-yard punt. But that high-flying Falcons offense, we've already seen the likes of Ryan and Jones in action coming up when we return to Charlotte in a moment. Matt Ryan picked up where he left off. His superb play against Carolina, leading that first drive for a touchdown. 1st and 10 at the 38. Tevin Coleman for a couple on 1st down. Julio Jones caught 4 passes in that opening drive, each team scoring on a 1-yard pass. Heineke getting set for his next turn. It'll be 2nd and 8 here. Again, they go to Coleman. And a little better run this time. 5 yards shy of the first down. Carissa Thompson with a game break. Carissa.
Thanks, Dick. So the Cowboys coming off that bad loss last week to the Colts. Jameis Winston sacked by Randy Gregory. Jalen Smith recovers the fumble. Takes it in for 6. Getting some help there defensively. Cowboys inching closer to the NFC East title. Currently up 14-3. Dick, Mark, and Jeff.
All right, Carissa, thank you very much. And the Dallas Cowboys can clinch the NFC East with a victory or an Eagle loss. 3rd down and 3. Ryan, and it's incomplete, not even close to Sanu, the intended receiver. So the Panthers do a good job defensively here. 3 and out for the Falcons, and Matt Bodger will come in to kick.
You don't see that very often. Matt Ryan, he has his receiver wide open on just a little stick route, just sails the ball. Something we're not accustomed to with Matt Ryan, usually very accurate.
Kenyon Barna is the deep man. Fair catch inside the 10-yard line. So once again, the Panthers are going to be hemmed in their own zone, but they've got a man named McCaffrey who can do it as a receiver and a runner. And he never comes out of the game. He's coming in the game when we come back. Rookie Isaiah Oliver from the University of Colorado replaces Robert Alford at cornerback for the Falcons. And starting from the 6-yard line will be Carolina. In the end zone is Heineke, and he completes the pass, and the ball is dropped. Let's see if it's a fumble or an incompletion. Brian Poole was there to recover it, and it is a fumble and a turnover, and the Atlanta Falcons.
Ruling on the field is a catch, fumble, recovered by Atlanta.
And it was Jarius Wright.
Well, he's got right there. He's got the 2 feet down. Look at him spin. I mean, he spins away. That to me is 2 feet down, takes a step. There's the reception, control the football. Now watch him step, spin away, and there's the football move. The hand right there by Jones gets on the elbow of Wright and forces the fumble.
And you know, the Panthers, since week 10, we've been telling you they have more turnovers than anyone in the NFL, and that's another reason why Carolina has dropped 6 in a row, and Atlanta couldn't ask for a better situation. They have a 1st down and 10 at the 13 of the Panthers with Matt Ryan at the helm. And Ryan gets knocked down, and he loses the ball, and a Panther is there. Kyle Love is there, and he recovers the fumble. They'll review it, of course. So Kyle Love, who is starting today for K1 Short up front, forced the fumble and recovered the fumble. And what a turn of events in one play in this game.
Well, here it is. Gets on the hand of Matt Ryan, right? That's a fumble. No question about it as he beats Ben Garland on the outside. Big play. Carolina back in business.
Dan Quinn went from elation to dejection in one play. And now starting from the 22 of the Panthers, this game is a mirror image as McCaffrey with the carry and gets extra yards with the extra effort. So we have a checklist for Christian McCaffrey, and we're checking them off.
Yes, and I can't wait till this one happens right here. See that? Ed McCaffrey, my former teammate, Christian's father. As soon as he hits that one, I'm texting Ed from the booth and letting him know your son is better than you. That's exactly where I'm at. They're a wonderful family, incredible family of athletes. And I know how proud he is of Christian and all the boys. They've just done a phenomenal job with their 4 sons.
Wondering what he'll text you back. 2nd down and 6, and there's McCaffrey on the swing pass, and he'll get the 1st down as Robert Alford pushes him, but there's a flag down. Pushed him out of bounds. Right now it is a 1st down for the Panthers. But they may be bringing this one back.
If they're going to get a holding call on Samuel.
Pass interference, number 10, offense. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
So offensive pass interference nullifies the 1st down for Carolina.
Well, he was down there blocking, and you could see him right here. He gets down, and he ends up blocking Alford before the ball is released. He goes down the field. Now he engages right here. The ball has not come out yet. There's McCaffrey in the picture. That's a good call by the referees.
Well, both teams scored on their opening drives, ending up with 1-yard touchdown passes. Then they were both 3 and out, and then they turned it over on back-to-back plays. It'll be second down and 16. And the Panthers call a timeout. And we'll be. So Cam Newton is inactive this week. And if you're wondering who the backup quarterback is, it's Kyle Allen, a rookie from the University of Houston, coming up from the practice squad. There is Allen, but it's Heineke at the helm. Got off to an impressive start, but now faces second down and 16 from his own 15-yard line.
Yeah, and anytime you're in these situations, coming off your own 15-yard line, he get a swing pass to McCaffrey, maybe a bubble screen to one of your wide receivers. You know, something just to get your quarterback in a little rhythm, to give yourself some breathing room so you can legitimately have a chance to convert on third down, which they did twice in drive number 1.
Swinging out to McCaffrey. It's all up to him now. He broke like 3 tackles before he was finally down. Still 9 yards shy of the first down. Game break time. Let's see Kurt Menefee perform. Kurt.
All right, Dick. Nick Foles not performing well on this play. Jadeveon Clowney is. He gets the sack, strip, and fumble recovery. And just a play later, Deshaun Watson takes it in the end zone. Right now, Houston on top of Philly 10-7. If they win, they wrap up the NFC or AFC South. Meanwhile, it'll be tough for Philly to make the playoffs if they lose.
Right. Texans going from last to first if they win. So it'll be third down and 9 for Heineke, and his pass is going to be caught for the first down to Ian Thomas. And Thomas had to turn around to make that grab. 27-yard play to Thomas, who scored his first NFL touchdown earlier.
Well, he gets the rookie one-on-one down here at the bottom, recognizes it right off the bat, and just throws it up, gives his big tight end an opportunity, back shoulder. That's beautiful placement on the ball by Heineke right here. Get him into the sideline where only your receiver can push off a little bit and get the ball. Beautifully executed and wonderful ball placement by Tyler Heineke.
Reaffirm what Jen Hale said at the top. He's been working with the first group on Wednesdays and Thursdays for the last 8 weeks, and having to get rid of it, and does to Christian McCaffrey, and there'll be a loss of 2 yards on the play. Foye Oluokun, who's the rookie, playing very well. Jen Hale, what do you have?
Well, Dick, you and Mark were talking about that touchdown on the opening drive. Taylor Heineke worked so hard for that, such a long time. He's been in and out of practice squads. One time he even got cut on the day he was moving in. So, hey, you'd think that touchdown ball would go to him, right? His first NFL touchdown. Well, as you mentioned, Dick, it was also Ian Thomas's first professional touchdown. So quite the discussion here on the sideline about who ends up with the ball. Maybe they'll score again together, and then they can each have one.
What a wrestling match that would be. Second down and 13. Heineke steps up and overthrows Ian Thomas, bringing up third and long.
Well, Taylor, I mean, he's got a great story, and he's one of the guys that you root for. You know, you think about this as a veteran player. You see first rounders come in, and you know they've been paid, and they've gotten, you know, the accolades, and they've had that kind of success. When you see a rookie, kind of free agent guy that's bounced around, as a veteran player, man, you root for that guy. You want to have that guy have success, small school mentality, and Cam Newton has just been wonderful this week, really helping him along, keeping him loose, helping him study film. It's really helped Heineke.
Third down and 13, and Heineke's going to be down back at the 35 by Grady Jarrett. You don't want him coming after you. And now Heineke is shaken up, holding onto his left elbow. It'll be fourth down. So Heineke injured here. We mentioned Kyle Allen coming up from the practice squad is the backup for Heineke today, and he's in pain.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So a loss of 13, and Grady Jarrett upset with that call, and it's an automatic first down on roughing the passer. But of more concern in this game is Taylor Heineke's left elbow. We're going to have a timeout here. Jarrett, Heineke. So Taylor Heineke heading for the Panthers locker room, injuring that left elbow. And so Kyle Allen, who Played in 5 games for the Houston Texans last year, started 3 of them. Played at the University of Houston, is now forced into action here. It'll be a first down at the 38-yard line. Here's McCaffrey, and McCaffrey picking up about 5 yards. Deion Jones, the tackler.
Well, you're going to see, look at how far out, that's called a 4-eye, and it makes you feel as a guard you've got to go out there and get him, but he's going to counter back in here and open up underneath right here, boom, over the top with a swim, and that's just scrambling, trying to get to the quarterback. I don't ever look at that as like a cheap shot or a foul. That is, I know they call it because you're down the quarterback's leg, but obviously here's Cam Newton coming up to Kyle Allen saying, hey man, it's okay. We're going to go out there and get this thing done. He's been so great to both these quarterbacks.
Second down and 6 at the 34-yard line on the rollout and the pass to McCaffrey, who goes out of bounds after the short gain. They're up to the 32-yard line, by the way, of Atlanta with under 9 minutes to go here in the second quarter. So Kyle Allen, who transferred to Houston from Texas A&M and was the MVP in a bowl game victory over West Virginia.
You ever read those old West novels by like Louis L'Amour? You know, he'd say you take that horse and you're going to ride it hard and put it away wet. That's what they're going to do with Christian McCaffrey today.
So now Kyle Allen, with the pressure on him now, and here is the handoff to McCaffrey, and he'll lose a yard. Sherrod Niesman, and fourth down coming up, and Catanzaro will come in to try a field goal. Catanzaro has not missed a field goal since he has joined the Panthers. This is his 3rd game with them. Played 9 games with Tampa Bay earlier this year. Broke in with Arizona, then briefly with the Jets. So here's Catanzaro with a 50-yard field goal try. And this kick is good. Chandler Catanzaro still perfect, 3 for 3 since he's joined the Panthers. And with Kyle Allen taking over for the injured Taylor Heineke, with Cam Newton watching, the Panthers have taken a 10-7 lead midway through the second. Panthers leading the Falcons 10-7 on Catanzaro's field goal with 7:40 remaining in the first half, and Matt Ryan getting set to do his thing in a moment. The 50-yard field goal for Catanzaro, longest since he joined the Panthers. And there deep is Marvin Hall. And they'll take it out of the 25. Well, they have a 1% chance, but the Panthers are still alive for a wild card berth. They have to win their final 2 games, of course, against the Falcons and Saints. They need the Vikings to lose their final 2 games against the Lions and Bears. In addition, they need the Eagles to lose one of their next 2 games, which would clinch the NFC East for the Cowboys. Now, there are other examples and scenarios as well. The Panthers hold key tiebreakers over the Cowboys and Eagles, and we can go on and on. But the scoreboard right now is to their liking, was Detroit leads Minnesota 6-0, and Philadelphia just took the lead over Houston 13-9 in their game. It'll be a first down, and Ryan off balance, incomplete pass.
So, oh, there's a flag on the field. I was going to say 1% chance on Dick. Well, as Lloyd Christmas would say, you're telling me there's a chance.
That's right. All you need is a chance.
Personal foul, late hit, number 25 defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Eric Reed had an outstanding game against the Saints. Late hit on Calvin Ridley.
And that's the way, I mean, you know, the league is cleaning that stuff up right there. There's no need for that. It's not one of those things, bang, bang plays where you're hustling over there.
He was down.
Ridley's on the ground. Just stay off the ground. Run by him. Show him how fast you are. No need to go put an elbow in his throat.
Now the ball is on the 40 for Matt Ryan. Play fake to Coleman with plenty of time, and wide open downfield is Austin Hooper. And having career best numbers and a Pro Bowl alternate is Austin Hooper, having his best year by far. TD catch last week, and he gets 32 big yards here.
Well, he's going to fake like he's going up across the field right here. Now watch him come underneath in that open void as Justin Hardy clears that out, that space out, so he fakes the over route and comes back to the corner route behind Hardy for a big play. And that's what happens. You get a penalty like that, now you give them some momentum. Atlanta takes advantage.
On the 28-yard line now, Ridley goes in motion, and Tevin Coleman on the handoff, but Kyle Love is there. Right there for the Panthers, bringing up second down.
It's amazing what a difference it makes, Dick, when you're playing and you're in that offensive huddle, and all of a sudden you get that first down, and you take yourself off that goal line. You get some breathing space. It opens up your whole playbook, and then you see them take a shot, a big strike, as they design that play by Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator. Wonderful design, getting that open void and getting it to the tight end Hooper.
Second down to 9. Julio Jones to the bottom part of your picture. Looking that way, and pass going underneath to Mohamed Sanu. Short of the first down by about 2.5 yards. So third and short coming up as we wind down to 6 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah, and I think Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator, has done a really good job. I know they're 5-9 right now, but a lot of injuries up front. This has really been based off this wide zone, this stretch play, and all the play action. They haven't been able to run it as efficiently, so they've kind of had to change midstream their entire offense. They're trying to get back to it here late in the season.
Third down and 2, and Matt Ryan going toward the end zone, and the pass is knocked away. Calvin Ridley seemingly had it, but was hit by a couple of defenders, including Eric Reed, and that will bring up fourth down. Looked like Ridley had the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and a nice adjustment by the cornerback. That's Jackson coming off in a cover 2. He's out there in the flat. Watch him come off here late. Reed hits him, and he finishes the play. Really nice shot. Little bit early right there, but that's a bang-bang play. Of course, we slow it down, and it looks like it's way early, but that's a pretty bang-bang play. Nice play, nice defense by Reed.
Matt Bryant with a 39-yard attempt. And Bryant ties the game at 10 here in the second quarter. So Dan Quinn's Atlanta Falcons and Ron Rivera's Carolina Panthers, these are longtime rivals in the NFC South. Both made the playoffs last year, but not this year. Carolina maybe. Well, coming up on New Year's Eve, the Red Box Bowl kicks off between Oregon and Michigan State at 2:30 Eastern on Fox. Then flip over to FS1 as 17th ranked Utah battles number 22 Northwestern in the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl at 6:30 Eastern, or catch it all on the Fox Sports app. Matt Ryan is 7 of 12 for 85 yards. So long, impressive first drives, then 3 and out the second time. And then fumbles in back-to-back plays for the third drives, and then field goals. Copycat game, huh?
Yeah, it's just like they drew it up. Exactly how we thought this was going to play out, Dick. You and I had talked about this before kickoff.
Yeah, right.
Long drives, a couple of 3 and outs, a fumble on each one, and then the field goal drive. So what's next? That's what you got to ask yourself.
Well, don't ask me.
All right. It's like a Hollywood scriptwriter put that thing together.
Kenyon Barner standing at the goal line. And this is going to be returned by Barner inside the 5. And Barner with a good return and gets smacked down by Bajer. So Bajer says, well, I don't mind making the kick or the tackle. And what a cruncher that was, but a 32-yard return that time for Barner.
Dude, how about Bosch? I mean, this is just like, you talk about form tackle. Lower your hips, drive through the player, right? Near foot, near shoulder. Go ahead, give it a listen. Who says punters aren't players?
And he gets high fives from
usually
teammates.
Usually that's me that says punters aren't players, but I'll give that one to you, young man.
You say it almost every week. Well, From the 36, McCaffrey. And it's going to be tough now because Kyle Allen, who's in relief of Taylor Heineke, coming up this week. And you know that McCaffrey is going to be the idea of carrying the ball. Heineke, though, good news for the Panthers, is out there throwing, and it appears that he's going to get back in there.
Yeah, it looks like a scene right out of RoboCop or something. He's got that big strap on his elbow to support that joint that he fell on, braced himself on that sack.
Second down and 8.
Looks like he's getting ready, Dick, to re-enter.
He sure is. Allen looking one way, and he makes the completion. No first down to Curtis Samuel. Close, but let's see whether that extra effort did it, and I think it did. I think Curtis Samuel has a first down for the Panthers as we check in once again with Carissa for a game break.
Thanks, Dick. So the Eagles trailing 9-7 against the Texans when Nick Foles finds Zach Ertz for this 1-yard score, his 7th of the season. 2-point conversion, no good. Eagles up 13-9. Dick, Mark, and Jen.
All right, thank you very much. A lot playoff stake for a lot of these teams. As Kyle Allen with a first down. The Panther 47. Play fake to McCaffrey. And a great catch on a wide open receiver inside the 30 is Jarius Wright. And the former Viking coming through with a big play from Allen, 24 yards.
Well, they're just coming right here, and they're just going to get into the middle of the football field, but they're playing a zone right here. Somebody's got to carry Jarius Wright into the middle of the field. Nobody does. Nobody picks him up, leaves him wide open for Allen.
29-yard line, and in traffic, they go underneath to McCaffrey, who makes the catch for the short gain. And
now you have to wonder if they're going to pull out some of the stunts they used last week against the Arizona Cardinals and pressure that young quarterback. Allen in there just off the practice squad. You would think that Atlanta would say, okay, enough of this, enough of playing zone behind us. Let's bring some pressure right now on the young fella.
By the way, McCaffrey has caught his 100th pass of the season. 2nd down and 7 from the 26. This time McCaffrey running, using his blockers, and getting to the 21-yard line, 2 yards short of the first down. Deion Jones, who returned from a broken foot 3 games ago. They need him, and he had a big 41-yard pick 6 against the Cardinals last week. So it'll be 3rd down and 1. They'll mark it at the 20. Both teams 3 for 5 on 3rd down conversions. They give it to McCaffrey. In trouble? Don't worry, he'll get the 2nd effort in the first down. Does he use his blockers and finds the openings as well as any running back in the league, and you can see how Cam Newton feels about that. First down, Carolina.
Well, you got to have some patience there if you're Christian McCaffrey, and that's exactly what he used. He hit behind that offensive line and then just snuck through it, Dick. Watch him. Here, settle your feet, sit, hide behind the big fellas, and then find yourself a crease. Get yourself a first down.
Almost a one-man show for them this year. 2-minute warning. Heineke has come back into the game, but what about the performance of Kyle Allen, who was 4 for 4 for 35 yards and did a great job as a guy just coming up from the practice squad, and Heineke in his first NFL start for Cam Newton. And meanwhile, 2 minutes to go in the first half. Panthers have 2 timeouts remaining. First down at the 19 and play action, and Heineke is going to complete the pass to DJ Moore. And Moore will be set down at the 15. Let's send it down to Jen right now.
Well, Dick, as you mentioned, Heineke's playing with that brace that goes from his bicep almost all the way down to the wrist. It's very heavily wrapped underneath that brace. And he was holding it rather gingerly on the sideline. Thankfully, not his throwing arm. He throws with the right. So hopefully for the Panthers, it won't affect him too much. Athletic trainers did tighten that thing up about as tight as it can go. We'll have to see how it affects him the rest of the game.
All right, Jen. And Mark, what's the difference in having an injury? I know it's not the throwing hand, but how does it affect him then?
Well, you think about any time you're protecting it, anytime you have an injury, it's bound to get hit. The littlest slap on the arm will extend that elbow, and you've seen the injury right here as he puts his arm down to hold it. You know, I know exactly what happens. His elbow just kind of pops out a little bit, strains the ligaments. It just is so tough anytime you have something like that you have to contend with.
But it shouldn't affect him in the mechanics, should it?
Not from a throwing standpoint, but just to tolerate the pain standpoint and not focus on that. Focus on the game.
2nd down and 6. Curtis Samuel going in motion to the left, and Heineke's pass and is caught, and it could be another 1st down. Let's see. It was Jarius Wright, who's made some good catches so far. And it appears to be a 1st down with 1:43 to go. The Falcons call their first timeout. And while we have a moment, let's check in with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, the Eagles cling to their playoff hopes as they host the Texans. The Colts must snow the Giants to stay alive. And the Dolphins try to keep their slim playoff hopes from freezing over as they take on the Jaguars. Hey, we're just getting warmed up. The Visa halftime is next.
All right, Kurt, we look forward to that. And the Panthers are short by a yard. They're on the 10-yard line. Atlanta now with 1 timeout remaining. Carolina, though, has 2.
And you mentioned Heineke and what he's got to put up with or what he's got to deal with. Did you see the poise in the pocket as he climbs up, pressure all over him, delivers a strike to right to make it 3rd down and inches?
And McCaffrey gets a 1st down and then some to the 5-yard line, and it'll be 1st and goal. So McCaffrey been a money player. He's caught 6 passes so far and has rushed for 12. Nearly 100 yards already in total yards from scrimmage.
And staying true to exactly what offensive coordinator Norv Turner said. This is a fast defense, but they're somewhat undersized. We want to run it right between the 2 guards and center.
And McCaffrey trying to reverse direction. Maybe a yard. Neesman was right there to prevent further damage. 2nd and goal coming up. Under a minute to go, and the Falcons call a timeout. They have their eyes on getting the possession again before the end of this half to do some damage themselves. By the way, Atlanta will receive the 2nd half kickoff. They won the toss today and deferred. Right.
I think one of the things you understand, and you don't know how good that run is, right? That run's for no gain, but that run for a normal running back, especially a guy with athleticism and speed, you try to pop it outside and all of a sudden you lose 3 or 4. Christian understood that that wasn't blocked up right. I don't have it. At some point, stick your foot in the ground, get back to the line of scrimmage, and don't lose yardage. And that was a beautiful play. There's a 0-yard run right there for Christian that is an important run because of the decision he made to get it back inside in the line of scrimmage. Hard for running backs to do that because they all want to break one, you know?
Got to have a little discipline, which this man has, without question. 2nd and goal at the 4. And it's going to be a throw. And it's tipped, and it's intercepted. Might have been tipped, and Jack Crawford picked it off for the Falcons. And time for the turnover for the Panthers, who appeared poised to get a touchdown or at worst a field goal here. And Heineke throws the interception, picked off by Jack Crawford, the defensive tackle. 2nd turnover of the game by the Panthers.
And it's a great read by Crawford. He comes off the pass rush, he spins out, finds the crossing route, the shallow cross. Look at him come in there right there as a defensive lineman. I mean, that is beautifully done, but it really was a recognition that's the most impressive thing by Crawford.
And DeMonte KZ got a hand on it and deflected it, so the interception could be made by Crawford. 2 straight weeks, Falcons get an interception against New Orleans in the red zone. 49 seconds to go, first down, and unable to hold on to the pass was Russell Gage, the rookie from LSU. He drops it and brings up 2nd and 10. Only one or no timeouts left for the Falcons, by the way.
Yeah, the Falcons just playing a too-deep zone right there. They want to keep everything in front, using the clock to their advantage. 45 seconds left on the clock, saying you're not going to get one by us. You're not going to get in the alleys on us, down the seams. We're going to make sure we play a little zone coverage right here, keep the ball in front of us, and just make tackles.
2nd and 10. Tevin Coleman on the handoff. And he gets to the 13. And clock stops with 41 seconds to go. Timeout Panthers, and they have one left. So if they stop him here, they'll get a chance again. Well, these franchises have followed a similar path over the last few years, starting with their quarterbacks winning the MVP award in consecutive years. Cam in 2015, Matt in 2016. Those same years, the teams lost the Super Bowl to future Hall of Famers Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, respectively. And since those losses, each team sporting a .500 record. Panthers have been in the playoffs for the last 5 years. Both teams made it last year.
So I guess it's fitting that the first 4 drives, each one had a long touchdown drive, a 3-and-out, a fumble.
They match each other.
And a field goal.
They match each other. 3rd down and 5. And a Panthers stop. They'll have a timeout and a chance for another chance to do something offensively. And this pass is going to be caught short of the first down to Austin Hooper. And now the Panthers will call their 3rd and final timeout. 35 seconds show on the clock, but Atlanta has to kick.
And how much confidence are they showing in their young quarterback Heineke right now? Taking the timeouts, keeping them pinned down here inside the 20-yard line, hoping to get field position. We're a couple of completions away for our young guy to lead us into field goal range. This is just Ron Rivera saying, hey, kid, I believe in you.
Treating him like he's a regular.
Right.
It has been.
I believe in you. I know you've done the work, and, you know, we're going to give you the opportunity.
Reminder coming up on the Visa Halftime Report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Tony. Luke Kuechly doing his job. And now Bajer will kick. Kenyon Barner, who had a 32-yard kickoff return earlier. He's looking for more of the same. Great hang time. Forces Bajer forces Barner to call a fair catch at the 37-yard line. Can the NFC playoff picture? These are the teams leading or have captured their division. Seahawks and Vikings right now will be the wild cards, but the Vikings have to win, and right now Minnesota trailing the Lions 9-7. And those 3 at the bottom, including these Panthers, still alive. It'll be a first down at the 10 with 28 seconds to go. What can you do here?
Well, you want to get an early completion right here, something to the outside edge, give yourself an opportunity to get out of bounds and see if you can get yourself some yardage.
No timeouts left. There's a catch, and there is McCaffrey quickly going out of bounds. And he ties his dad with the 101st catch. 14-yard gain, stops the clock with 22 seconds.
And look at Heineke standing tough in the pocket, takes a shot, protects that elbow as he goes down, but he delivered a strike, and that's what's important. Gave his running back an opportunity to get out of bounds.
Jack McKinley got to him. Got a first down on the Falcon 49. Here comes pressure in on Heineke again, and he's not going to get away from Jack Crawford. So Crawford with an interception and a sack. And now they're just going to apparently let the time run out. They're at the 49-yard line. Race against the clock here. And they manage to clock the ball with 1 second on the clock.
So now you ask yourself, do you have enough with that elbow injury and everything else? Can you buy enough time to chuck it down all the way into the end zone?
Well, that's what he does. He's a Hail Mary quarterback,
you
right?
run a little hook and lateral. We had him in Cleveland a couple of weeks ago, and he came in for a Hail Mary and just took one right to the ribs. So
Julio Jones is downfield in safety position. There he is back there along with Sherrod Niesman. So here comes the Hail Mary to the corner of the end zone, and it's going to go out of bounds, and that is that. And that is the end of the first half, and the play of the first half is presented by DirecTV. More for your thing, that's our thing. And that was Taylor Heineke's thing on his first drive touchdown pass to Ian Thomas with his first NFL TD reception. And we now go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles for the Visa halftime, which starts now. That was today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. And what an interesting game. We're tied 10-10. Here you have Matt Ryan on one side with the Atlanta Falcons, and you have Taylor Heinicke and Kyle Allen, who came up from the practice squad. Cam Newton watching the game today, and yet it's a 10-10 game as we go into the second half, Mark.
Yeah, and they've done a great job in Carolina of really featuring their all-star running back in Christian McCaffrey. I expect that to be no different in this second half. And I think on the flip side, you look at the Atlanta Falcons, 4 catches for Julio Jones in that first drive. He hasn't had a catch since that first touchdown drive. He's been bothered by a hip. We've seen him come in and out of the lineup, and they continue to work on him. And it'll be interesting to see if that thing tightens up over halftime and if he can be effective in this second half.
Atlanta gets the ball first, but let's go back to the start of this game. Taylor Heinicke.
Well, it all started with Heinicke. You know, he said he was going to be nervous on that first play from scrimmage, and there it was, and he fumbled the snap, and then a big third down and 9 on the quarterback sneak, quarterback keep, and then the touchdown to Ian Thomas right there. Celebration ensues. Late in the half, he gets sacked. He hurts his elbow as he plants it right here. You see it kind of pop out. He leaves the game for a while, writhing in pain, puts a brace in there, comes back, shows some toughness, and then he ends up getting that turnover here. A wonderful play by Crawford.
And yes, that was the second straight game, and it wasn't Atlanta that got the turnover last week. It was Carolina throwing the interception as Cam Newton threw the pick at the end of the first half in the New Orleans game. So deja vu for the Panthers all over again as we look again at the numbers. And interesting that the Panthers have more passing yards than the Falcons, and who would have thunk that with the quarterback matchup today?
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I mean, these are things you cannot script. And with Matt Ryan and the wide receivers you have like Julio Jones and Sanu and, you know, Ridley, the rookie, and all the things that they have been able to do, that Carolina right now with two essentially, I mean, they're not rookie quarterbacks, but essentially rookie quarterbacks, guys without any, you know, real expertise or any real playing that has that's transpired over the course of the careers, outpassing the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, it's again 10-10 the score, and you never would have thought that with you know, Heinicke making his first NFL start. And there's the guy you were talking about, Julio Jones, who had to come out. Game time decision for him. Caught 4 passes, including the 1-yard touchdown catch in the first drive for the Falcons, but 0 since then. And you know he's going to figure in this one as this game goes on. So the Falcons will receive. Catanzaro will be kicking off to Marvin Hall. Panthers trying to end a 6-game losing streak, their longest in 4 years. And Atlanta will decide to take it out at the 25 as we send it down to Jen Hale.
Dick, Ron Rivera tells me it's an elbow strain for Taylor Heineke. And yes, Taylor is in quite a bit of pain, but Rivera says he has all the confidence in the world that he can work through it. They are focusing on the fourth quarter. Last 3 games, 0 points in the final period. So that is the point of emphasis today. Meanwhile, Dan Quinn and Julio Jones, Julio's on a snap count. They are having to manage him to try to get him through the end of this game with that hip injury.
All right, Jen, thank you. Starting from the 25. And Julio Jones in the lineup. Play action. And wide open downfield is Calvin Ridley racing to the end zone to beat Reed for the touchdown. First play from scrimmage in the second half. A 75-yard touchdown strike from Matt Ryan to Calvin Ridley, the rookie from Alabama.
Total bust in coverage here too. They're playing in cover 2. At least the corner is. The safety comes screaming down to try to make a play. So he's just going to come out in the flat. The safety's going to come screaming down. And there goes Ridley. You see the safety. That's Mike Adams, I believe. The safety comes screaming down there to cover the out route, and easy touchdown for Atlanta. That's the kind of mistakes that happen to you that cost you football games.
That's the first catch of the game by Calvin Ridley, and a TD pass earlier in this year against the Panthers. And extra point by Bryant is good, and that is his 9th touchdown catch of this season. So Matt Ryan doesn't waste any time, putting the Falcons in front 17-10.
All right, well, let's look at the play right here. Here you have the cornerback, here you have the safety. Now watch the safety come screaming up and leave the corner who's playing the flat. He's the flat defender. Here it comes. Wide open. Obviously somebody screwed that up from a call standpoint, and that is a busted coverage that leads the rookie to a wide open touchdown. I mean, that's like stealing. It's too easy.
And that's the first lead of the game for the Panthers. Took 9 seconds, 1 play, 75 yards. And now the Panthers will get the ball. Kenyon Barner is back deep for Carolina. And it's a short kickoff for Barner returning. Had a 32-yard kickoff return earlier, and this one is pretty nifty in its own right as Isaiah Oliver, the rookie, who's alternating with Alford at cornerback. This is a 37-yard return by Barner. So let's see if the Carolina Panthers can capitalize on decent field position. Luke Kuechly has been the anchor on defense for so many years for this franchise. And a first down at the 37. Heineke's numbers. Incomplete, trying to get it to Curtis Samuel. Second down.
A big play, you know, the thing about that big play as an offense, what you can't come out here and do is say, let's match big play for big play. You've got to come out here, you've got to orchestrate your offense, you've got to do what got you to a 10-10 halftime tie. And that means feature 22, Christian McCaffrey, and keep throwing the ball underneath and in the middle of the football field for Heineke.
Screen pass, right. And Jarius Wright is upended by Robert Alford, out of bounds. They've got quite a bit to go to get a first down. That was a 3-yard pickup, so 3rd down and 7 now for the Panthers.
They've really struggled over the course of this season, 3rd down and 7, but understand that part of that, you know, 3rd down and 7 plus part of that is Cam Newton not being able to push the ball down the football field.
They send McCaffrey out as a receiver. Heineke, flag is down, penalty marker down. Alford coming up from his cornerback position. to make the play. See what Pete Morelli tells us.
False start. Number 12 offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Still third down. Taking his helmet off is Heineke. And Jen reported that, and you did too, that the kind of injury he has puts him in pain.
Yeah, well, you're seeing more right here. He's pointing. He's saying Alfred's coming, and as he's pointing, because he sees the corner blitz, they call that a cat corner blitz. As he sees it, it makes him jump. He's trying to help out his quarterback. You still have to hold your water.
And they go right after that left elbow in the process. Third down and 12. Kyle Allen waiting in the wings just in case. On 3rd and 12, Heineke. And mix up in the route, and Devondre Campbell, if he had stayed in bounds and held on to the ball, would have had another interception for Atlanta. In any event, it's 4th down, and this first series is not going well offensively for the Carolina Panthers.
No, almost a huge costly mistake by Heineke right there as he scrambles away from harm's way, tries to fit it in versus the zone coverage. Almost takes one to the house right there. It's almost a pick six all the way back.
Michael Pilardi kicking to Justin Hardy. And makes the fair catch at the 26. Another flag.
During the kick, holding. Number 34 to the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Penalty against Brian Poole, and they'll mark that one off. Coming up, Matt Ryan. Didn't take him long. One play, 9 seconds, 75 yards. Into the hands of Calvin Ridley, and that's the difference in this game. 17-10 Atlanta. First down from the 15, and Tevin Coleman with a charge up the middle, and Coleman with a good run appears to have a first down for the Falcons. Right now, the Carolina Panthers want to nip Atlanta's momentum in the bud, stem the tide. Meanwhile, Atlanta sees an opportunity to hit the gas pedal right here, leading by 7, looking for more.
And let's talk about the psychology of this defense right now. When you get busted for a big play that's a mental mistake, it doesn't have a lot of effect on you. Say, clean it up, let's go out there and play. When they cram it down your throat, that's a different story. This defense has played well up to this point.
First down. Ryan loves the play action, had nothing there, and it's an incompleted pass. Pete Morelli right there. It was Wes Horton put tremendous pressure on Ryan. And we're going to see who the receiver was. The pass forward, and who was it intended for? It was intended for Tevin Coleman. We saw him in the picture. The running back.
As he lets it go, that's definitely a pass. It hits the hip of Horton right there. That's why it goes backwards. Just an incomplete pass. Good job getting rid of the ball here. A little funky angle by Matt Ryan.
Second down and 10. Short drop this time, and Ridley is ridden out of bounds by Captain Munnerlyn. Short gain there, and it'll be third down and long for the Falcons.
Luke Kuechly taking the signal right there, telling us coaching staff, give me this thing, give me this thing, give me the what we got right now.
Does he know the plays before they happen?
This guy is unbelievable. There's a cat and mouse game going on right now between number 2 and number 59. That's Ryan and Kuechly.
Both went to Boston College. And here's the third down and 6 play. Ryan has time, and the pass is broken up. Sanu, the intended receiver, and it was broken up by James Bradbury. Good play by him. And so in a situation where Atlanta ready to pile up and take a big advantage, Carolina answers it.
Yeah, look at Bradbury here. He's just sitting back here. He's operating on Sanu in the curl right here. Going to drive on the ball, get around the front with that left arm without impeding Sanu and knock that ball down. These corners have played so much better since Ron Rivera took over the play calling.
Kenyon Barnard is back for the Panthers. And inside his 20, looking for running room, and none there. And good hustle by Justin Bethel. Well, Christian McCaffrey and company coming out. And let's see whether the Panthers can get an offense going here, trailing by 7. Welcome back to Bank of America Stadium here in Charlotte. Dick Stockton, Mark Schlereth, and Jen Hale with you. Falcons lead at 17-10, and a first down at the 20 for the Panthers. Here's Christian McCaffrey, and here is McCaffrey. Patented run by him all season long, gets the first down. 12 yards.
We told you at the beginning of the broadcast, and this is just a counter play right here. A little bob, guard, center, guard, both pull around there, get to the edge, but we said more traditional type of runs, less of the zone read. This is Christian McCaffrey, kind of back to his Stanford days, if you will, when he led the nation in total yardage.
64 yards on the ground today. From the 32, Heineke stepping up in the pocket, now taking off. Heineke's going to get the first down, looking to protect the ball, which he does beautifully, and winds up in Atlanta territory at the 49. He ran for 19 yards on that play. Time for a game break, however. Here's Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, 6 of the Colts to 8 seed in the AFC, down 10. Andrew Luck to Dunshall and Min for that 2-yard score. Colts still trailing 17-14. Dick, Mark, and Jen.
All right, thank you very much, Carissa. But looking at the scoreboard, the Vikings now lead the Lions 17-9. That's not good news at all for the Panthers. Minnesota would need to lose 2 and Carolina to win 2, among other things, for them to still have that slim chance. Here's McCaffrey trying to go outside, but the Falcons are there, flag down. Niesman is there to make the play. Another penalty.
Holding. Number 82 offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That's Chris Manhertz, the tight end.
Well, you know, it's amazing. You get your first opportunity, you get injured, but I want you to watch Taylor Heineke right here. Look at how he's just protecting that left arm, that injured elbow. He's keeping it tight to the body. He's hardly swinging it at all. And now looking to get down, try to protect the arm. Look at how he tucks it into his belly right there. This kid is playing hurt. He's showing great toughness. He's showing great leadership. That's the kind of guy you want as an offensive lineman, taking snaps from you. And they've had that all season long with both Cam and now Heineke.
He's rushed 3 times for 33 yards. That's a pretty good situation. Now going to the air, and his check down is going to be McCaffrey. And couldn't get by Sherrod Niesman, who makes the tackle. And with that catch, he ties Matt Forte, NFL record for receptions by a running back in a season, 102. So Christian McCaffrey has tied Forte there. The next one, of course, will set the record. Meanwhile, it'll be 2nd down and 17 from the 44-yard line.
This again is one of those, don't try to pick this all up. Get yourself, 7 to 10 yards. Put yourself in a manageable situation.
Being pushed back by the rush. And throwing it out of bounds. Pressure that time by Tack McKinley. He had some company as well, so now 3rd down and 17. And I guess in this situation, you just want to get some yardage and try to pin the Falcons back and make it a long run for Matt Ryan when he takes over.
Yeah, right now you're having a little bit of problem with protection. A lot of new offensive linemen. Trey Turner, their all-pro guard, is out right now with an ankle injury, so you shuffled some guys in there. That always makes it difficult. This is one where you hand a draw, maybe you throw a screen, a bubble screen, or a swing pass to your running back, and you get out of this thing still alive.
3rd and forever, and they go underneath. Pass caught by Jarius Wright, and that'll be perfect. It'll be 4th down. They get the ball into Falcon territory to the 46. And coming on to kick will be Michael Pilardi, and going back will be Justin Hardy. Panthers have done a terrific job in kick coverage today. They need it here.
I wonder if Atlanta's punter Bosher is talking any smack to Pilardi, like, you need to get a tackle in here too, man. Kind of enter the game. Let's go.
Well, if I have to make a tackle, that may not be good for us. Trying to get it inside the 20. He does. And a fair catch called for. Justin Hardy and Matt Ryan will come on. Falcons still up by 7 midway through the third. Falcons leading 17-10, and for the second straight series, they'll start from the 15-yard line. Panthers stopped them the first time around. Here's Tevin Coleman, and it's Luke Kuechly right there on a 1-yard pickup on first down.
You know, watch Luke Kuechly, because Luke Kuechly is like a freak show running back. He's going to read this thing, then he's going to cut back behind the offensive line, and you know, watch him. He's coming at eyeballs in there, knock it back, hit at the line of scrimmage. He is like a full-time, seriously, he's like a running back that plays linebacker, does such a good job of reading blocking combinations, understanding what the play is, and sifting through all that traffic to make tackles at the line of scrimmage.
6-time Pro Bowler. Really gifted player. Second down and 9. Ryan with a short drop, and the pass is going to be caught by Calvin Ridley. He'll have the first down for the Falcons at the 26-yard line. Ridley, who caught the 75-yard throw from Ryan on the first play from scrimmage in the second half to give the Falcons their lead.
You think he's learned anything from the veteran wide receiver Julio Jones? You see him out there in the flat, he catches the ball, puts his foot in the ground, he shakes a little bit, puts his foot in the ground, and goes, I know where the first down marker is. Let me just dive through there. Let me push through there. You saw Julio did that in the first drive for the touchdown at the very opening drive of the game.
Play action again. Plenty of time. And going up top. And it was Julio Jones, covered by Bradbury. A lot of air on that throw. And it'll be second down and 10. Speaking about Ridley leading the NFL rookies in receiving yards.
Yeah, they go to the corner. They go to the corner. He starts to go down the field, runs to the corner, then goes back out into the post, and Matt Ryan just leaves it a little too far over his head. You know, a lot of times a quarterback says we want to throw that toward the middle of the football field, let our receiver run to it. That one was just a little off target.
Jones hasn't caught a pass since that opening drive when he caught 4. Good burst by Coleman. Tevin Coleman with a burst, trying to break away from Eric Reed for more, but he's got 20 yards as it is. And it'll be a first down as the Falcons getting out of early trouble at their own 15, out down to the 46.
Watch right there in the middle of the screen. Pro Bowler Alex Mack's got a tough reach. He gets to the edge, and then he just keeps pushing Love out of the way as the cutback right behind the block of the All-Pro center, Alex Mack. Wonderful job. He is just a consummate, I mean, that guy is a consummate professional, and he's an absolute dog up front.
Also a Pro Bowler for the 6th time in his career. Play action, and Reed was coming in and getting away momentarily with Ricky Ortiz, the fullback. And he gets to midfield. Time for a game break. Let's check in again with Carissa.
Thanks, Dick. So the Patriots up 14-6 on the Bills, looking to clinch the AFC East for the 10th straight season. Brady connecting with Edelman on this one. Stays on his feet. 32-yard score. Pats up 21-6. Dick Pumpkin down.
Same old tune. That's what the Patriots are singing right now. Patriots clinching the AFC East with a win. Brian Hill now has come in with 2nd down and 6 midfield. And here is Hill, maybe a yard. There is Thomas Davis. He and Luke Kuechly. Last week they combined for 25 tackles against the Saints. What a combination they've been.
They really have, and the communication is what's impressive, especially here at home. Look at the hand signals, look at the gestures. They're always communicating with one another, exchanging responsibilities, and basically playing that cat and mouse game with the opposing quarterback. Do a phenomenal job.
3rd down and 5, and flags are down. Movement. Offsides will be called against Carolina, it appears, and F.A. Obata might be the guilty party.
Neutral zone infraction, number 95 defense, 5-yard penalty, and the result of the penalty is a first down, 94.
So the penalty will give the Falcons a first down. Those dead ball fouls. Now Atlanta is at the 44 of Carolina. Two head coaches, both defensive specialists. From the 44, Hill remains in the game as the running back. Drilling it and making the catch is Sanu. Mohamed Sanu will score for the Falcons. Well, there have been a couple of breakdowns in the secondary for the Carolina Panthers. This is a 44-yard touchdown pass. Ryan to Mohamed Sanu, and the Falcons opening up the lead to a 2-touchdown advantage.
Well, Mohamed Sanu coming across the field right here, but I want you to watch him slow down his route because Captain Mutterland right here is playing the hook zone as he drops off and he comes off of there. But watch him. He'll get into the middle of the football field, and before he runs himself into coverage, just tippy taps his feet right there, giving the window for Matt Ryan to throw that touchdown pass.
And Matt Bryant has the extra point, and the Falcons breaking the 10-10 tie with 2 Matt Ryan touchdown passes here in this third quarter, and now it's a 24-10 game. Atlanta in front. Panthers defense going back to the drawing board there, and they've been the victim of a couple of long plays. A 75-yard pass to Ridley on the first play of the second half, and then an 85-yard drive capped by the 44-yard touchdown pass to Sanu. Earlier, Falcons went 85 yards for a touchdown, and this time the Panthers will take it out to the 25-yard line. Well, next Sunday, the crew of the Starship Orville is back. From creator Seth MacFarlane comes a brand new season of thrilling missions and epic adventures. The Orville Season 2 premieres next Sunday after football on Fox.
Well, Dick, can you say gut check time? I mean, that's what this is for this offense right now. Going down 24-10 off of 2 big pass plays here in the third quarter. You've got to grind one out. Know that you're only going to have several possessions left in this game. You've got to grind one out and find points.
And it's up to Taylor Heineke to engineer all of that. Gives it to Christian McCaffrey on first down. Almost, look at him. Christian McCaffrey riding the back of a blocker and getting about 8 yards on first down.
You know, it's really interesting, kind of the change. We've seen it with Gurley or Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey. It was always, you know, in recent 5 or 6 years, it's been a 2-back league. 98% of the snaps Christian McCaffrey's in. It's a 1-back league here in Carolina.
And there's McCaffrey, and he's going to set the NFL record with that catch. Most receptions by a running back in a season. 12 yards, but 102 catches by McCaffrey. Passes Matt Forte.
It's a great little touch pass, too. That's one of those that's a lot harder than you think. Tack McKinley right in your face. You give up a little bit of ground, put some touch, a little air underneath that. Hits McCaffrey right in the hands, and boy, I tell you what, the kid is absolutely phenomenal.
First and 10 at the 45. And there he is as a runner again and pushes the pile. And look at that push by this guy. McCaffrey, by the way, has been on the field for every offensive play the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, how do you like him now, people? How do you like him as a big-time running back? Because, you know, all those people have said coming out of Stanford, well, I see him as more of a receiver or a third down back. No, I'm a first, second, third, and fourth down back.
And here's Heineke to throw, and he gets it to Thomas. And Thomas will have it on the first down out to the 37-yard line. Campbell making the tackle, 9-yard pickup to Thomas, who scored the lone touchdown for Carolina.
So impressed with Norv Turner, offensive coordinator. Hey, there's no panic, right? We don't need to push one down the field. We've got time. Let's operate our offense methodically, get it down to our playmakers. Ian Thomas, the tight end, Christian McCaffrey, the back.
They're at the 37 now. Panthers trailing by 14 points. And Heineke's pass, and it is a catch. Good one made by Curtis Samuel. Time for a game break. Let's check in again with Carissa.
Thanks so much, Nick. So Eagles, Texans tied at 16 when Nick Foles steps up. delivers this one, 83 yards to Nelson Aguilar. Eagles to 17 in the NFC, up by 7. It's Mark again.
All right, thank you very much, Carissa. Minnesota continues to lead Detroit 17-9 in their game. 2nd down and 3. And this pass overthrown, intended for DJ Moore. Flag down.
Number 69 offense. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Tyler Larson of the Panthers, and that'll cost Carolina 10.
Well, Tyler Larson is the guy who came in and replaced Trey Turner, and he just gets beat back to the inside as Heineke sprints out to the right and ends up tackling a defender. And I've been there. I mean, sometimes you get beat and you're like, I'm not going to give a head up to my quarterback. Sometimes, you know, it's just a natural reaction. Obviously, it puts you behind the 8 ball here, 2nd down and long, but it's one of those situations as a player, like, I cannot give up a hit. I can't let my quarterback take a shot, especially with the elbow injury.
You have to have been down there to know that. And there is a play fake, and the pass is caught by DJ Moore. Moore, good runner after the catch, gets a 1st down. Good play by Moore, gets to the 25-yard line.
DJ Moore, best wide receiver in football, yards after catch with 40+ targets. And here he is down at the very bottom. They're just running up a screen. Look at Samuel get the key block. Marshall Newhouse out there getting a block. And you know, Ron Rivera told us a lot like Devin Hester, once he gets the ball in his hand, the great returner from the Chicago days, but he's a really, really excellent runner. And, you know, he produces the 1st down there on just a little bubble screen behind the line of scrimmage.
Had 1 catch in the first time these teams played. That was 51 yards and a touchdown. Got a 1st down here to the 25. And here is Heineke. And this pass is caught by Thomas. It'll be a 1st down, forward progress for him. Niesman was right there with him, but it'll be a 1st down, an 11-yard pickup to the 14-yard line. So Panthers coming back here in this one.
And watch the pressure come right here in his face, how he gets this ball out. Look at Heineke. Makes the fake. He's getting it right in his face, drops back and puts that on a dime between the 8 and the O. Excellent job by him. He's just shown great poise, great toughness as a young guy with an elbow injury early in that 1st half.
Boy, he's been a warrior in this one. Here's McCaffrey. McCaffrey gets tripped up by Grady Jarrett. He had some open spaces in front of him. So Jarrett makes the play on the running play.
Grady Jarrett, 44 pressures for this team coming into the game, 6 sacks. And I'm telling you what, sideline to sideline guy, Dan Quinn told us, I saw this guy work out in Clemson. I had to have him on my team.
Playing faster now, the Panthers. 2nd down and 8. Flag goes down as McCaffrey, or I should say Heineke, throws it away. Beasley came on strong.
Number 71 offense, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
So Marshall Newhouse called for holding, and the offensive line for the Panthers having their work cut out right here.
Yeah, right here, left tackle, and you're going to see Tack McKinley again. I don't know that Tack McKinley has any statistics, but I know one thing: he's wreaking havoc. He's been pressuring the quarterback. He's been all over the football field, getting deep penetration, and that time, once again, the deep penetration forcing the throwaway and the holding call.
He does have 1 sack today, and the final seconds.
Well, I guess he does then have a statistic. You know, I wasn't aware.
Well, he's aware.
Right.
He's aware. You go down and say, Tack, how you doing? He said, I got a sack.
I got a sack. Okay, good.
This is 6.5 on the year. Here's the pass, and it's intercepted. Thrown right into the hands of Brian Poole. Down right there by contact at the 19. So can't say this was in the red zone. It was at the 22, but 2 interceptions thrown by Heineke when the Panthers were threatening against the Falcons.
Boy, and Heineke, if you watch his eyes here, he never takes his eyes off of this side of the field. Brian Poole has the zone eyes on right now. He sees it's coming out to Moore, just jumps in front of it. That was too easy right there, reading the quarterback the whole way.
So Poole's having a big season down the stretch. Had a sack and a fumble recovery against Arizona, plus an interception. That was his 3rd interception of the year. Has 3 sacks as well. Brian Poole, a solid secondary performer for Atlanta. 1st down on the 19. Brian Hill. Here's Brian Hill. And A little stiff arm there against Dante Jackson, and now Hill and Jackson jawing at each other, going at each other, and a penalty marker thrown. Boy, the Falcons and their bench enjoying all of this, no question about it. Time has run out in this third quarter, but we'll sort it out here. That was a 21-yard run by Brian Hill.
Well, Brian Hill gives a stiff arm to Jackson. Jackson gives it back, and then they get in a stiff arm battle on the sideline. Kind of like a dance-off, only different.
It's a tough dance to
After the
learn.
play was over, personal foul. Number 32, offense, 15-yard penalty, and the result of the play is a first down.
Well, that'll be the last play of the third quarter, and the penalty will be called against Brian Hill. Right there. End of 3. It's 24-10. Falcons over the Panthers. Well, there is the Mint Museum and a lot of great holiday decorations behind it. And you can see the third quarter has been the difference. Atlanta scoring 2 touchdowns on 2 Matt Ryan strikes and leading 24-10 as we start the fourth. Dick Stockton along with Mark Schlereth and Jen Hale. The Atlanta Falcons trying to get to 6-9 and win their second in a row. And the Panthers, as we said again, 6-2. Great first half of the year, but they have dropped 6 straight games. A lot of them have been close. And there you got the veteran who has all the honors in the world in Ryan, and the first NFL start for Taylor Heineke.
What do you want to do if you're Atlanta right now? You want to consume clock. You want to eat it up. You got a 14-point score. Don't do anything silly. Let's eat this thing and get ourselves back in the locker room.
Pitch goes to Tevin Coleman, and the Panthers. Kuechly was in the picture. Jermaine Carter pushed him out of bounds. Carissa Thompson has another game break she's dying to tell us about.
Cowboys up 20-13. Dak Prescott connects with Michael Gallup for this score. Cowboys clinch the NFC East title with a win, leading this one at home 27-13.
Yeah, great victory, and for Jason Garrett, you know, a lot of people were dragging him through the coals. It would be a big win for the Cowboys. Loss of 3 on that first play, 2nd and 13. Julio Jones in the lineup, lined up wide right. Not looking there, but completing the pass is Ryan to Mohamed Sanu, and Davis is there to make the play, about 3.5, 4 yards away from a first down here. 3rd down and 4 for Matt Ryan, who today has completed 14 of 24, 236 yards, 3 touchdown passes.
As good as they've been, Atlanta, at converting 3rd down and longs, the exact opposite true is 3rd down and 4 minus. Like these 3rd down and shorts, they have not been a good team this year. I think sitting at 28th in the league.
They need 4, and they don't get it. As Marvin Hall has his pass broken up by James Bradbury. I like the way Bradbury's playing in this game, and also the way he played last week.
You know what? When you talk to Ron Rivera about his corners, and he's freed them up. He started calling defensive plays. He said, you know what, we're going to give you an opportunity to play more outside leverage so you can see through the receiver to the quarterback. And since that time, both these guys, Bradbury and Jackson, played great football.
Kenyon Barnard back deep. Barnard at the 21. Barner passes the 30 and gets put down at the 32-yard line. Well, the Carolina Panthers need points. These are the guys that will try to get it for them when we return. An opportunity for the Panthers right here. This crowd has really never been into the game, maybe except for that first scoring drive with Taylor Heineke at the helm, but it's been a quiet crowd today. Handoff is to Christian McCaffrey. And now maybe they'll wake up. First down, little stiff arm and a pushback by Robert Alford right there. But McCaffrey has a first down. And turnovers, a big story. 3 of them have cost them.
Yeah, they certainly have. Down in their own, coming out of the own end zone right here. right on the fumble. Now, they got the fumble right back, but then driving down to the red zone to tip ball, Crawford gets the pick. That has been a big issue all day long.
1st and 10. Heineke has time, and he goes to McCaffrey, breaks a tackle, and runs right into Deion Jones. Good gain on that play. Niesman missed the initial tackle, and they got 5 yards on that play. And now McCaffrey, by the way, is the numbers. We have the checklist. 104th reception, new Panthers record for catches in a season, breaking Steve Smith's record, who had 103 back in 2005. So we checked them all off for him today. 2nd down and 5. Another completion, and this to Curtis Samuel. And Heineke was telling us that Samuel was like his favorite receiver when he was working with the starters when Cam Newton had to take a rest during the week. Let's get a quick update from Carissa.
Sorry, Panthers fans, you don't want to see this one. Kirk Cousins finds Kyle Rudolph for this 4-yard score. Vikings trying to hold on to that 6th seed in the NFC. They're up 24-9. Dick Mark again.
Well, if the Minnesota Vikings go on and win, the Panthers will be eliminated from the playoffs, regardless of what they do in the rest of their season. Meanwhile, a 1st down at the 41, and Heineke gets the completion to Funchess. Boy, there's a forgotten man, Devin Funchess. Haven't said his name much in recent weeks.
Yeah, really nice pass. Look at Heineke step into that throw right there, put it right on the numbers. And think about this now. If you're the Carolina Panthers, you're in an up-tempo, but you've been driving the ball. You've just had self-inflicted wounds, so you got to have some confidence as an offense.
12 yards on that play. Here comes the pressure on Heineke, and he gets rid of it. Incomplete. Low to Funchess. Going to Devin once again. And it'll be 2nd down and 10. Devin Funchess, who tied a career high, by the way, the first time these teams played in week 2 with 7 catches.
Well, you're sitting here right now. If you're the Carolina Panthers, we have 11-13 left in this game. We're going to at least get 2 possessions after this one with our 3 timeouts. So we've got to put the ball in the end zone here, but we're going to get more opportunities. So at the very least, you have to come away with points.
Number 28, 2nd and 10. Here is Christian McCaffrey. I think only one time today did McCaffrey not get many yards, and that's because he didn't want to give ground. When they were near the goal line, he got 5 yards, creating a 3rd down and 5. And 101 yards on the season. So for the 4th time in his career, he's gained over 100 yards. The beat goes on, huh?
Yeah, it certainly does. And, you know, I love the fact that they're still featuring Christian McCaffrey. I know they're down by 2 scores. They keep this defense honest, using a little trap inside.
3rd down and 5. Heineke, and the catch is made by Samuel, and he carries Desmond Trufant to 1st down land. And it is a 1st down 8-yard gain, and Curtis Samuel did a lot of that on his own, didn't he?
Well, first off, he just made the catch to come back on this just slant route, and you see the off-thrown ball right here. He's just digging in there. It's thrown behind him. He adjusts it, does a great job of sticking his hands out there. Look at him trap that football, contort his body, and then turn it upfield and make a play to get that 1st down.
On the 15 now. Kind of a must drive for Carolina. Getting hit is Heineke as he throws the ball, and it was Tack McKinley. Tack has a sack already today, and he nearly got another one. And checking to see whether Heineke's left arm is all right.
Yeah, he's
the official asking him that.
Right. No, Heineke was checking to see if his left arm was still attached. I mean, this kid has shown unbelievable toughness. Look how he gets twisted in there between his offensive guard, the official down there going, "You all right, kid?" I mean, Pete Morelli, good job by Pete.
3 flags are down.
False start. Number 69, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Tyler Larson, that's the 2nd time he's been flagged today.
And has this not been the story of the Carolina Panthers? They put drives together between the 20s. They get into critical situations and they make mistakes. They turn the ball over. They have a critical penalty that puts him, that drives them away from the intended goal of the 1st downs. I mean, this has been the story of this game.
Double figures now. 10 penalties called against the Panthers. 2nd down and 15. And they go to McCaffrey. McCaffrey trying to get a few extra yards. And Devondre Campbell, and then Niesman comes over to help. Third down will be coming up. The Panthers have to get the ball to around the 5-yard line. That was a 13-yard gain. Did not get out of bounds.
How about that? Christian McCaffrey right now with what, 21 carries and 10 receptions. I hope they have an oxygen tent in the locker room because he's going to need to spend the night in there.
Well, he said, I've been counted out so many times, continues to fuel my fire. Third down and 7. And the pass is caught by McCaffrey, and he is knocked out of bounds by Deion Jones short of the first down. And this is where the Carolina Panthers need the first down here on 4th down.
Well, McCaffrey coming out of the backfield is going to run a pivot route. Look at it. Goes inside, pivots back outside. What a great job of staying upfield leverage on the upfield shoulder by Jones. And you know, Riverboat Ron, this is not field goal territory for him.
It'll be 4th down and 2. So McCaffrey now with 179 total yards in this game. But this is the key right here.
Remember last week, 4th down and 2, a trick play came out.
Not this time. Heineke giving ground and looking for a receiver. Knocked away from Samuel by Desmond Trufant, who breaks it up. And the Atlanta Falcons will take over on downs. It was a crucial play for the Panthers to try to hang in there in this game. Still have plenty of time, but they remain down 24-10. So you see Carolina's had the ball 28 more plays in nearly 16 more minutes, and then you look at the bottom. 3 turnovers, 10 penalties. And that's why those ball control numbers mean nothing. And Brian Hill turning the corner and getting a first down. Brian Hill in this game, the backup to Tevin Coleman. You know, Devontae Freeman played only 1 game this year, and then Ito Smith went on injured reserve this week.
Yeah, just following the fullback. They're just coming out here. They're wide zone. That's what they do. There's the fullback. Get the Thomas Davis. Nice run. Good finish. Put your shoulder pads down. Finish on your terms.
24-yard gain. He has 50, does Brian Hill, who was a 5th-round draft pick last year, then left the team, went to Cincinnati, played 6 games, now back with Atlanta. So it's Coleman and Hill getting the work right here. Hill once more. Hill breaks it out and hurdles and loses the ball. And the Panthers have it. Peppers. It looked like Kuechly, then Peppers, and a penalty flag is down. Kuechly had a hand on it and then lost it, and Julius Peppers.
Holding. Number 74 offense. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is a fumble recovered by Carolina. First down.
Ty Sobrilo holding, and it was declined. So Hill with another nifty run, but it didn't end up well.
Yeah, and what do we say about Hill? I just praised him for putting his shoulder down, you know, finishing on his terms. Unforced error right there. And you're keeping the Carolina Panthers in this game with great field position. But right here, come on. All you have to do is possess the ball. Put your shoulder down, run over a cornerback, possess the ball, and live to play the next down.
So the Panthers, with still a lot of time to go, and no one has called a timeout. Well, in this second half, they each have 3, and a first down at the 40 for Taylor Heineke. And on the screen pass, and he overthrows Cameron Artis-Payne. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Boy, if you were golfing, you'd call for a mulligan right there. I mean,
yeah.
A bad snap. Heineke has to grab it. They're running a double screen, so they're faking McCaffrey to one side, trying to get it to Artis-Payne on the other. Air mails it over his head. I mean, that thing had no chance from the start. It was like the first play of the game, the fumbled snap by Heineke. You know what? Let's start over here. 2nd down. Let's wipe it clean.
Saw Julius Peppers on the bench. Could this be his final home game? 17th year. One of the greats. He'll be headed to the Hall of Fame for sure. On 2nd down and 10. Heineke's pass. And it is caught for the first down by Devin Funchess. So the Panthers needing 2 touchdowns to come back 10-yard pickup right here.
Well, Heineke does a great job on the outside. That ball's gone right now before Funchess ever makes his move on the comeback. Look at him rip that ball. Norv Turner told us he throws a great ball and it has late life. It gets to the receiver without losing arc.
Catchable balls, he called it. And let's see if this one is one. Here is Samuel, and it's broken up by Desmond Trufant. Curtis Samuel was his target. Good play by the veteran corner for the Falcons. 2nd down and 10.
A little hand fighting going on down the sideline right here. But I think it's a good no call. And Trufant, what an athlete. I mean, your left hand, you're staying. They call that staying in phase if you're a DB, just so you can feel it. There is no interference there. So he stays in phase with the right hand, feeling where the receiver is before he looks back, sticks up the left hand to bat that ball down. Great job of keeping relationship with that corner on that wide receiver.
2nd down and 10, flush from the pocket, and shoestring catch or no, and it's incomplete to DJ Moore. Ball was on the ground. Good pressure by Grady Jarrett, and it took all of Heineke's awareness to get rid of that ball before he was put down. He has now thrown 44 passes in this game, by the way.
Yeah, that wasn't the game plan coming in here. They did not want Taylor Heineke to throw 44 passes, and watch him protect that elbow as he goes down again. Grady Jarrett, just one of the really unsung heroes of this defense. Flies around, makes plays, not only plays the nose guard, but also plays the outside, 3 technique as we call over the guard.
3rd down and 10. And here comes the pressure and the screen pass. Grady Jarrett having a field day right now, getting after Taylor Heineke. So now it'll be 4th down and 10. And the Carolina Panthers, with 6:42 to go and down by 2 touchdowns, have no choice here.
Right. And this is, obviously this is where you don't want to be, but the Atlanta Falcons right now, they smell it. It's like sharks, man. They smell a big bag of chum. There's blood in the water, and he's wearing number 6, and they're trying to come after him.
4th down and 10 from the 30. Watch out from behind, and Heineke goes down. Bruce Irvin, the former Oakland Raider, and Heineke slow getting up, now helped up, and the loss of 11 yards, and the Falcons will take over once again on downs and having good field position to boot, leading still 24-10, shutting out Carolina here in the 2nd half. Panthers threatened, but couldn't do it on 4th down, and now the Falcons on the 41-yard line with Matt Ryan. Here's Brian Hill, and he'll be knocked back by Davis and Kuechly, and a loss on the play of 1 yard. These were playoff teams a year ago, and in the first half of this year, both thought things were pretty rosy. I mean, Atlanta was 4-4 going into the 2nd half. We told you the Panthers were 6-2. These two teams coming into this game a combined 1-11 in the 2nd half this season.
And you think about this defense, minus the busted coverage where Ridley took one deep, and then the deep over to Sanu where they just didn't get the depth on the curl. I mean, this game, they played a really good game other than those 2 breakdowns.
2nd and 11. Here's the Wildcat, and Sanu is going to carry it. And Sanu, who has a touchdown catch this game, and 4 receptions. Kurt Menefee with a game break. Kurt?
Well, talking about receptions, 11 catches for 90 yards for Zach Ertz today. He's got 112 on the season, most ever for a tight end in a single season. Also 2 touchdowns. Nick Foles has thrown 4 scores and 400 yards, and the Eagles are up big with less than 5 minutes left in the game they need to win to stay alive in the playoff hunt. Dick?
But, Kurt, I'll tell you one thing. The Eagles certainly putting the push on defending Super Bowl champions late in the year and doing an impressive job of it, especially against the Texans. Today, 3rd down and 6, and the pass caught, but Sanu won't get to the sticks. Davis prevents that. 4th down coming up, and the Falcons will kick it away with under 5 minutes to go in the 4th.
I'll tell you what, you should sign Nick Foles just to be your December and January quarterback, right? I mean, that dude's, we just call him the holiday quarterback. Anything after the holidays, he's been money. And really getting the receivers involved as well.
No question about it. So the Eagles still alive. Kenyon Barner ready to receive Matt Bosher's punt. Good kick. Fair catch at the 15. Taylor Heineke been under pressure. That's what the Falcons did to Josh Rosen last week in Arizona, taking advantage of inexperience of the quarterbacks.
They have, unlike last week, though, it hasn't been by the blitz. It's been by this defensive front four. He's been under duress the whole time, been hit 9 times. It's at 9 times in my best Ferris Bueller voice right there.
Good job. Cameron Artis-Payne is now the running back as Christian McCaffrey, one of the rare times, is on the sideline. First down at the 15. Heineke will get it out to Payne. Artis-Payne first down as he crosses the 25-yard line, gets to the 28, gain of 13 as we approach the 4-minute mark here. There is Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if he knows how to watch a game from the sideline when his team has the ball.
Well, he's played 98% of the snaps. He's not used to being over there.
And there is a catch by Curtis Samuel. Trufant right on him, but they'll be shy of the first down by 2 yards.
With this pass rush, what happens when you have a pass rush like Atlanta has right now? These corners, and you saw it right there with Trufant, they're going to squat. They're going to sit down there and say, can I get myself a pick six? Add to the stats.
Artis-Payne. And that'll be a first down to the 42-yard line. Christian McCaffrey, banner day for him in a banner season. Did not make the Pro Bowl. The NFC's loaded with great running backs, and so McCaffrey didn't make it. He was disappointed. He says it does matter. So those people that say who cares, he wanted it. Kenyon Barner now is in the running back, and this pass down deep off the fingertips of DJ Moore.
Look at DJ Moore. Stops his feet for a second. I just don't know. I mean, he gets to the side. He's even with the defensive back. Stops his feet. It's just rookie. You know, I mean, that's just the rookie mistakes that we have seen here with Carolina today, with the turnovers, with the penalties. Stops his feet. He's even with the receiver. When you're even, you're going to chuck it deep. You're not throwing that back shoulder. A little confusion there from DJ Moore.
That was a good throw.
Yeah, it was.
2nd and 10. And they go to Jarius Wright, and he'll have a first down at the 45 of the Falcons. So 12 yards right there. And tell you what, the Carolina Panthers over 400 total yards. They really have had the ball most of the time, but as we pointed out, 3 turnovers, which came at really critical times, and the penalties have done them in. Kenyon Barner, and that was Samuel who holds on to the ball, not down yet. Still on his feet. A lot of dancing going on there. And when all is said and done, he will lose 3 yards.
Hindsight being 20/20, you should have just gotten tackled. And there's, you know, I mean, I know they're going hurry up, but there doesn't seem to be a great sense of urgency right now with the Carolina Panthers.
No, there's not. And we're down to the 2-minute warning in this game. 2 Matt Ryan touchdown passes in the 3rd quarter has been the difference after the tie at halftime. It's 24-10. Falcons lead with 2 minutes remaining. We're back. It's been a spectator game for Cam Newton today. 2nd down and 13 at the 48-yard line for the Panthers. They need 2 touchdowns. Here's a catch by Barner, and he's tackled. They're going to hurry up. 3rd down coming up. Boy, he's been hurting. You just look at the face of Taylor Heineke, who was injured with his left arm, his elbow, and Kyle Allen, who just activated this week, came in and was 4 for 4, did really well in relief briefly. So here's the 3rd down and 10 play, and it's going to be caught for the first down by Torrey Smith. Torrey Smith gets the first down. We have 1:26 to go, and a timeout is called by Carolina. And 2 timeouts left for the Panthers after the 19-yard pass to Torrey Smith. And a first down at the 26 of the Falcons. Looking to perhaps get in the end zone. There's also the onside kick possibilities. Barner goes into the slot right as a receiver. And here comes the pressure on Heineke. He gets hit as he gets rid of it. And the pass is picked off. Was the defender in bounds? It was Isaiah Oliver. Heineke shaken up again. See what the ruling is here. I don't know about the left foot.
Well, certainly the right was in.
Yes.
Right there, right. That's in. That is in.
That's an interception by Isaiah Oliver, his first career interception, if it goes that way. And Heineke gets buried.
Heineke has he's just taken an absolute beating.
We will review the previous play.
You know, I didn't see an official make a call on that play, whether it was intercepted or out of bounds. I didn't see anything from the official. Here's Oliver.
Yeah, let's check out.
Does he have possession?
Well, it looks. Oh no. So he
has to keep it all the way through, and they're going to take a look at that.
Right. He had the feet down. There's no question. He's saying, "Yeah, I caught that." No, you didn't. So he had the feet down. So that part of that catch was a-okay. But when he hit that ground, that ball tumbled out of his hands.
Mike Pereira coming in now. Mike, your thoughts on this? So I apologize that we couldn't hear Mike. Wish I could read lips better.
I read lips, and I think he said, "Yes, Mark, I totally agree with you," as I believe is exactly what he said. He said, I'm thinking whatever you're thinking is correct, Mark.
You know, if only Mike could speak to us right now.
I like my version better than anything Mike was going to say. But you see, as soon as he hit the ground, the ball came out of his possession. Right. So he had the 2 feet in.
Right. But he had to have it all the way through, and he did not.
By the time he gained possession, he was already laying out of bounds.
That's what Mike would be saying, right?
Right.
Okay, the key, Mike told our producer Eric Billigmeyer, was that the key was the 3rd step. Was it a toe drag? That was the football move. And of course, we were also looking at the possession of whether Oliver sufficiently held onto the ball. He's getting fist bumps from his teammates. If he gets the 3rd step down, he does not need to keep it all the way through the ground. If he gets that 3rd one down, I'm sure Mike would have said exactly that. All right, Mike Pereira, we already said what you might be saying.
After reviewing the play,
I'm back, Dick.
it is an interception in the end zone. The receiver had it 2 feet down, was tucking the ball away on the way down to the ground. And
it is an interception.
Please set the game clock to 1:25.
Mike, but your mic's working now. Good.
Yeah, my mic's working. And again, hi Mark, hi Dick. I agree with this ruling. He gets control. And he gets 2 feet down, and he's already really brought the ball in, but the 3rd step, the toe drag, is really what makes it a catch on the way to the ground. So, and that's why that they could get the indisputable visual evidence clear and obvious that it in fact was an interception.
All right, so he doesn't need to, once it hits the ground and it bobbles, he's got, by the fact that he dragged that toe, that's what made it the catch.
Exactly. When you think back, not to make Dean Blandino upset in here, but Des Bryant, back a few years ago, it's actually under this interpretation, Des would have been a catch, even though he was on the way to the ground. He got a third step down. Same thing here.
Yeah, anytime you can give Dean grief, I think is a good thing. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. So the Falcons take over again, and this is Brian Hill with a great run. Brian Hill has Bradbury and Reed to beat. He's not going to get to the house, but he gets the big gain of 60 yards on that run. And the Falcons, with 1:05 to go and the clock running.
Well, they're just going to run a little bend back. So they start to the left-hand side of the screen, bend it back to the right. Once he gets through that, just that briar patch of offensive lineman and defensive lineman. Nice job getting down on the ground right there. Possessed the ball at the end of the carry. He made that mistake earlier. He's not going to make it again.
So how about Hill? Brian Hill, 117 yards on 8 carries. How about that for him today? And clock continues to run, a half a minute remaining. And that's going to be it. Well, we're going to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you, Mark, and to Jen on the field, our crew, and all of you out there, as the Atlanta Falcons have won the game 24-10 over the Carolina Panthers, who go to 6-9. The Falcons also 6-9. Carolina now has dropped their 7th straight game, and we'll be back here in Charlotte after these messages.